Beauty, she is great.
She is not missing.
I'm Gabby, that's Jordan.
Red flag, red flag.
I'm sure, I know I'm the villain in that story. Okay, hi, welcome back. You know who we are, but you don't know who this is.
This is Beth. She owns CKO Kickboxing. We were debating the other day, and don't be mad at us for this. What does CKO stand for?
Club Knockout.
See, I was like, it's Clearwater. So
I thought it was Clearwater Knockout.
Everyone thinks it's Clearwater Kickboxing Organization or something. They don't know what the O is, but no.
Okay.
But then I was like, oh, but it's a franchise, right?
Correct.
So like, I was like, okay, so it can't be Clearwater.
No.
This was a whole debate we
Yeah.
had. Who were we with when we had that debate? We were
Tosh.
talking
I think it was
Tosh.
Everyone thinks CKO is like Clearwater Kickboxing. No, wow. They like no idea what the O
I'm
is.
like Clearwater Knockout. That makes sense.
Yeah,
like in a
not.
sentence it doesn't, but like to me it does.
So it's a kickboxing establishment franchise that was franchised 25 years ago in New Jersey, where I'm from.
I forget you're from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it started
Your
off as
neck
called...
of the woods.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah. It started as Take It to the Max, and then they franchised it and became Club Knockout, and then they did another rebranding and called it CKO Kickboxing.
So let's talk about your business for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What makes your kickboxing gym different than other ones that people have gone to?
So the tagline is real bags, real results.
Yeah.
Plus it's a sense of community. So the bags are different. They're not hanging, they're hanging on racks. They're not on stands. So they're 150-pound heavy bags, and Gabby can speak to it.
Yeah.
When you're kicking it and punching it, it's coming right back to you. So you're getting a really, really high intensity workout without even like having to worry about controlling the bag. And plus the sense of community in the gym. So it's not just you go in, you do what you need to do and go out. Like you become part of the family.
I remember when I brought someone to come there, and she wore flip-flops because she didn't realize she had to wear sneakers, and she was like, well, when I go to the other place, I always just like do it barefoot, and she's like, no, these bags are heavy.
Yeah. Like, you can't
You're
kick
wearing
that
sneakers.
barefoot.
It will literally break your toe. Yeah, very
I
different.
feel like our first class, when I still didn't know what I was doing, I left with sore wrists. I had like, my toe was a little wonky after that because I kicked it like completely the wrong way. And my ankle, I also went in for a side kick, I think, with my ankle, and I like completely messed up my ankle. I was not good after the first class because I was not doing it properly, because I think there is this misconception of like what it's supposed to look like versus what it feels like.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, you have to get used to it, and it takes a good 6 months before you stop looking at me when I tell you a combo to do and you know what to do. But it takes like literally 6 months where people are like, what's a jab? What's a cross?
Oh, I
what's
thought I
a
picked
hook?
that up fast.
Did you?
I do.
All right, well then you are
I think
better than the rest.
I know them, but when you start like doing the combinations, I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
See, I know it,
Like the
but
T-Rex kind of thing happens. Yeah.
my dyslexia kicks in because like I don't do well with spoken words. So like even like if you read off numbers to me, or like if you ask me to spell something, I have to write things. So I think the only part that trips me up is you'll give me a long combo and I won't remember all of it.
Yeah.
And that's what stresses me out. But I know what all of the
Plus
moves
you're
are.
lefty.
Yeah, I am
So
a
when you
lefty.
do everything lefty.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Kyle's a lefty too.
Yeah.
So when
Really?
we went to the class, it was kind of nice because when Kyle goes, I have a sparring partner which all of the people in class are great. They're willing to go left for me. I'm the spoiled baby that gets everybody to go left. I never go right.
Right.
But now I have Kyle, and he's back from Iraq, so he's been going left for me because he's left. So
Yeah. We have a lot of people that I'll have switch back and forth so that when lefties do come in, they're like, I can't go righty, so that they'll conform.
lefties are a special breed.
Yeah,
we
you
can't
are.
do both ways.
Yeah,
we
you
just
are.
can't do it. Jordan, do you want to close the door behind you before we start? Just because I feel like
I hear blue barking.
Yeah. The team is already used to blue barking in all of our videos, but we're trying to
I feel like we
minimize.
gotta name them. Like our Z-listers.
Our Z-listers?
Yeah, I think we gotta...
Are we going to offend people by calling them Z-listers?
I don't think anyone's
I think if
offended.
they're listening to this show, they're on board with it.
Yeah.
So we had a podcast party, and we gave everybody matching glasses and little mics and everything like that, and it was the cutest thing ever. And now I have friends that will just send me pictures holding their mics at home.
Aw, love
I
that.
love it.
Love that.
But okay, so today, as much as we just talked gym, we're not talking today about athletics, because that's not Jordan and I's strong suit. We're here to... We're here
I wouldn't say that.
I am the most
Girls, I've seen you in
uncoordinated.
the gym.
Hold on, real quick. I went to this new gym that's near my house, and at the end, you're supposed to like do this like dance, and I'm not a workout dance girl at all. Like Zumba, absolutely not. Don't sign me up. So she's like, yeah, the last 15 minutes we're like gonna dance. You guys should have seen me. and they're going so fast, and I'm like 6 steps behind them, like, guys, I can't keep up. I'm bumping into everyone. They're like, get this girl out.
We did a thing when we started called Zoom boxing. So it was a combo.
I want that.
Can
we do it again?
It was
Can we bring
crazy.
It back? If you open the Tampa location, we're doing.
She's like, and then hit the floor, and I'm like, I can't do it like that.
It goes so fast.
They're so fast, yeah.
And then put boxing add to that. It was crazy.
That's for me because like I was a dancer my whole life, so like that's my bread and butter. I've never done anything like kickboxing before, and I hate all other exercises. But like, it's funny that you were like, well, we're not athletes by any means, which is funny because I came from a father that's very athletic, played college basketball. My brother like excelled in sports, not an athlete. When my mom heard I started kickboxing, which I hope she gets mad that I'm bringing this up, she literally was like, Gabby, I don't think that's very safe for you. You're not very coordinated. You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh my God.
And you proving her wrong.
I mean, I definitely feel like I've bumped and bruised myself a couple of times, but I just push through it. I'm like,
but you're not broken, and you get sore, and you love it.
Yeah, I do. I love it.
Good. I mean, you did dance. I consider that a sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a different kind of dance.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because she used to make fun of me because she's like, we can walk and I'll trip over air, but all of a sudden I can dance and like I don't trip anymore, and it's a very odd thing. But like I do trip over air 24/7.
Well, being from dancing, you're on your toes. It's the same thing when you're doing boxing and kickboxing. You're on your toes. So even though
I feel like I really lack the toe ability sometimes, I'm usually just standing there and then I hear on your toes, and I'm like, no, I'm tired. All right. But what we're here to talk about is something Jordan is adamantly passionate about.
Well, Beth is very passionate about this too.
I am.
And that's why we brought her here for it.
Yes, I am.
Beth is also starting a podcast, right?
Yes.
Do you have a name?
Yes, it's called A Mom's Dystopian Reality.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
What's a little synopsis of what you want to talk about?
So the podcast is going to be basically moms who are feeling that their kids who are either high school age or college age or even a little bit beyond that, how it's just they've differed from how they raised them. Okay. So being maybe in some type of maybe a conservative household or a religious household, and how they've gone through either high school or college and after the fact, and how they just became different people.
Is it going to be more of like the public school, like them going through public school, or is it just just
in general? In general, going through life, how they're starting to be adults, and how they're interacting with their parents. And I've had a lot of people already kind of contact me, and they definitely want to get on the podcast. So that's why I feel that the subject is kind of important to get out there.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like I've heard of a lot of different. I mean, we're not mothers, so we don't know, and I don't listen to as many, but I know a lot of my mom friends do listen to a lot of mom podcasts. And I feel like I've heard most of them are like baby stages or growing up with your kids, but it's never like the aftermath. So I think that'll be cool. That'll be new and a different perspective. So that's super exciting.
Kind of like adult kids working with their parents, and that's definitely it's been different in these last couple of years.
Well, and I feel like it's, at least for me personally, I know I really rebelled in those beginning years, and since I was very quick. I feel like my brother's taking a different route. My brother's very comfortable. My brother, if they would let him do a fifth year, he'd do a fifth year. Like, he likes school. He likes not having to be independent. Whereas I did college in 2 years. I moved to other countries, and I adamantly started making my own money because I wanted to be stopped being told what to do. And then it's funny because now as I've aged and now I've been taking care of myself for a very long time, I look back and I'm like, wow, I really rushed that. I was kind of mean. Like, it kind of, it's funny how as a kid you kind of also grow up and then realize, okay, I could have handled that better. I could have done this better. Yep. But I also still believe there's certain circumstances that they could have handled better, but that's just being a parent.
I was actually thinking about that on my drive here. I was like, wow, in my teenage years, even freshman year in college, I really put my mom through hell. Mm-hmm. I should apologize to her for that. Apologize. Because, oh my God, was I a hot mess. She probably didn't sleep at all.
I mean, having an empty nest household and you lose your kids to going to school and stuff, it's a very different reality for parents to have to deal with. So then the kids kind of become independent and they try and work on their own lives and do what they want to do. And then having to interact with their moms or their dads just becomes a very difficult task overall. Yeah.
Well, so do you feel like, because obviously in the theme of conspiracy theories today, do you feel like there's a lot of like, and I know you said, what was it that you said when I said you want to do conspiracy theories, and you're like, they're not.
No, they're not
He's a
theories.
conspiracy realist.
Yeah.
Because there
Okay.
are some conspiracy theories out there that are true.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way I was telling Jordan today. Another guest we're having that I'm bringing to the table that I was really excited about. He has this story, and it's a real story, so it's not a conspiracy theory. But I was like, but it's like if people were to hear it, they would think it was a conspiracy theory. But when you research it, it's like no, it's very real. And I'm not gonna. Don't tell Jordan what it is if you know it, but I'm gonna tell you it's about the cheese caves.
Cheese caves?
Okay,
That was my
there you
exact
go.
reaction. I was like,
So good.
Cheese
Neither of you know.
caves.
I'll tell you at a later date.
Okay.
Jordan doesn't get to know until Fred comes on because I feel like Fred is just gonna blow your mind.
Like mozzarella or cheddar? Like those kind of cheese?
Cheese. Cheese caves.
Um,
She's not allowed to look it up. She promised me. You can look it up.
call me. I said I wouldn't look it up.
But tell me, that
So-
sounds like a conspiracy theory. But when you
sounds
research
odd.
it, it's very, very real. So I can see what you're saying, like the realism perspective.
Maybe it's Swiss cheese in the Alps? Is that what that's about?
She's like trying to guess what it is.
Well, anyways, I brought notes. I know Beth brought notes too, but
yeah, I did.
I brought notes.
Where are we starting?
Okay. Well, where do you want to start? You're our guest.
So when we were talking about I don't consider them theories. I consider
Yes.
them actually realities.
Yeah.
Do you know how the whole thing started with conspiracy theories and why it became the word conspiracy theory?
No.
Okay.
She
So
goes, no.
no. So it started JFK time.
Okay.
So in order to discredit truth tellers and people coming forward with facts, in order to discredit them, they call them conspiracy theorists. So anytime a conspiracy theorist now comes forward with either truth or facts in order to discredit them, they call them conspiracy theorists.
Okay.
So it started with JFK when they were saying, it wasn't just this one lone gunman that went after him, and it was, I saw somebody from that window, I saw somebody from over there, there were 3 different areas where they came from. In order to discredit those facts, they called them, those just wild conspiracy theorists.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to be talking about some real facts, but we're also going to be dropping some crazy ones too.
Oh, goody.
So
Some that could be more in the gray area or maybe are not.
I want to talk about the Denver airport first.
Cool.
Because I've personally been there. Have you been there?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm from there.
yeah,
I
so
was
she's
born
from
and raised.
there.
I've flown out of the Denver airport my entire life.
Yes.
So that's my airport. That's my major airport.
Okay.
And it's funny because
It's
Jordan...
changed, though.
It has. It's
Yeah.
changed a lot
Yeah.
over the years, too. I've watched it change. Every time I go home,
Were
that's where I fly
you,
into.
do you remember the original airport that was there? Mm-hmm. You do.
But as long as I've been alive, it's always been the white tented looking top.
Yeah.
We've always had the blue horse.
Blucifer.
I've always known about
That's what it's
Blucifer.
been called.
Blucifer.
Nice.
I grew up, since I'm contributing the least to this conspiracy theory, I'm here as the watcher. I'll start with what I do know about the Denver airport from growing up there. So growing up there, I knew that building that blue horse, there was a lot of deaths that happened in that process. That they said because of that, the grounds was haunted by those group of men that died there building that horse. I had heard about the underground tunnels that were not used in Denver, and of course, everybody's heard this one. It's that the airways are in the shape of a swastika. So those were the only things, but I knew those high school, junior high. We knew those all growing up, and it was just conspiracy theorists saying oh, well, it looks like that, but it wasn't intended that way, or oh, we don't really know how many deaths there were, stuff like that. So that was all I knew going into it.
You know what creeps me out is going there. What was really eerie for me is how long the drive is
To get into the airport.
Into the airport. Mm-hmm. It is absurdly long.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my one opinion on that. Growing up in Colorado, a lot of those areas, it's all plain field. So it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm very used to driving through that sector.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So even if I went Colorado Springs, because I'm from Colorado Springs. So Denver's my biggest major airport. I could fly out of Colorado Springs. It's a lot more expensive. I only do that when my mom doesn't want to come drive and pick me up. It's very rare. But if you drive south towards Pueblo, it's the same look. If you drive towards Denver and you've got the city and then the airport's out that way, which it is weird that it's so far away from the city for being a city airport. But when you drive that way, that's all plain lands anyways. it's a lot of those plain lands used to be used for like the windmills to generate power, stuff like that. That's really typical.
I want to talk about what's under the ground though.
Is that why you're thinking it's so long?
Because of what's under, not above. Okay, we're gonna start.
Okay.
So
this is where it gets juicy. Let's go.
Lots of people consider it the Illuminati headquarters, because when there was said to be a apocalypse that was happening when Obama was in office, his family flew into Denver as a kind of connecting place, but they never connected, and they got off, and then when they left, like a week or two later, they left from Denver, but they were never seen leaving the airport. Weird. Okay.
Can you, for the viewers, just quick synopsis, explain what you think the Illuminati is? She's like, no, I can't.
That is a very long synopsis that I can't shorten, but maybe we'll get into it as we continue.
Okay, just because I feel like there's a lot of people that might be like, well, what is the
a demonic cult is the shortest snapshot of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you said, there was a functioning airport there before, completely functioning. Why did they need a new one? Who knows? The original project was set for $650 million, okay? Normal airport money. It ended up being $4.8 billion. So that's like...
Do we have any comparison to other airports and how much they cost?
No, we can look one up.
I'll look one up. Let's see. I'm going to look up what's the most expensive airport in the United States, and let's see if it's
compared to the size.
Okay.
Of the airport, because that's important too.
Let me look up some stuff. You keep going.
You already said the swastika. If you look at it from a bird's eye view, it's shaped as a swastika. There is barbed wire around the entire airport.
Oh.
Which I guess
so is around the long drive around, it's all surrounded?
Yes. Which I guess is what I've heard is normal to keep people from coming in.
Or onto the runway or something.
Yeah, from other airports. But theirs specifically is the opposite way, and it's to keep people from going out.
Oh.
So it's like turned around. Yeah. It's very strange. And then there's tons of symbolism.
Right.
So
talk about the paintings. Let's get into those paintings. Those
okay, wait, hold on. Before we get into the paintings, I want to talk about the blue statue, which people have named Blucifer.
I cannot believe they call him. It's just crazy.
The artist who built it, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, rest in peace, he was killed while building it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It fell on him, whatever. It's 9,000 pounds, 32 feet. At nighttime, it has these beaming red eyes, which is giving very devil, satanic.
So what Colorado people will tell you, so they're actually like a little bit more orange, and a lot of people will say that it mirrors our Bronco, which is like the Denver Broncos, and it's blue and it has orange eyes. So that would be to explain away the demonic piece of it. We still call it Blucifer. It's like the nickname of Colorado Springs. Everybody, or not Colorado Springs, but everybody in Colorado calls it that. But they will disguise commonly that it's the bucking bronco of the Denver Broncos, which is blue and it has orange eyes. Yeah. Beth is like, I'm not buying it. Yeah. I'm here to combat you a little bit.
Okay. So, I mean, we've already kind of spoken about the tunnels. Employees have made thousands of stories about how they hear screams coming from these tunnels all the time. There's said to be about 400,000 square feet of tunnels underneath. Now we're going to get into what Beth wants to talk about, which is the murals.
Right.
Okay, I have videos.
Do you have when they were put up?
When they were put up?
Yeah.
No.
That was pretty recent, like maybe within a decade
I know
or
that
so.
I have some videos of some signage that they have put up recently. So first, have you seen the Earth depiction? Okay. Gabby, I'm going to pull up a video.
I've seen that one. I think you sent it to me.
I did send it to you.
It's unreal, some of the stuff. Is
so,
why
we can...
Why at an airport do we need things like that?
Just so we can... Okay.
By the way, I'm really afraid to fly, so for me to actually get into an airport, it's a lot.
Okay.
So I would not probably ever go to Denver because it's just the altitude.
This is what it looks like, okay?
Yeah.
So that gate right there is where Antarctica is.
Okay.
And if you know about Antarctica, we're not allowed in most of, what is it? The state? A territory?
It's a territory.
Yeah. We're not allowed in most of it. So there's a gate there. So what they're saying is that it symbolizes that there's a gate that you can leave through, right?
Or go beyond.
Right. So this is depicting a flat Earth, right? There's... Hold on. There's...
Where in the airport is this? Do you know? Have you seen it yourself? Because I haven't.
No, but I know it's new.
Okay, so it's new. So I might have just not seen it yet.
So there's like just... Hold on, let me put this on.
Denver Airport with the new art installation in the center of the airport. We start off here with the world. At the South Pole there is a gate, and then around the world is sand. At the North Pole there's this pole that leads up to this arrow. The arrow points down to what it looks like perhaps a firmament, to a train station. I should also mention the world is depicted as flat over there. From the train station, from the arrow, we come down here. Perhaps a way to get in and out of the world as we know it. Again, surrounded by rocks and sand. Maybe this is where the lizard people live. It's weird.
So that was one video I found on it, and then there's this other one that I thought was interesting
I'm at the
too.
Denver airport here, right? And everyone says conspiracies, right? So we got a map here of the world. So there's a few things that we gotta look at here. Hey, why is there a net where Antarctica would be? Second off, at the northern pole here, why is that going to this weird fan? And then, if you look further, the fan is connected to an arrow that is the same arrow type as, where's that thing? The net thing down here where Antarctica is. That then leads to an obvious Stargate. And the railroad obviously signifies lizard people.
Interesting. As far as the airport situation, I'm having a very hard time finding exactly like what is the most expensive airport built in specifically America. It keeps wanting to give me other countries, but I will say 10 out of 1 through 10 of in the world, Dallas Fort Worth is 3.2 billion.
Okay.
What did you say ended up being
4.8.
Okay.
How big is it compared
Denver,
to Denver?
4.8.
Yeah.
Denver and Dallas should be bigger than Denver.
Yeah.
Okay. They said a lot of that was because of a $500 million extension to the main Jepson terminal and is expected to be built in the near future and will have a business center and a hotel inside it, which it does have the hotel now. I don't know when this article was written.
Near the Earth that they have, there is a rock there that says AUAG, which is known as, gold and silver. But put together, it's a toxin that can be used for biological warfare. Crazy.
Awesome.
Right?
Which is also in a lot of the pictures.
Yes.
Biological warfare.
Yes.
Right.
So, like, as the murals, a lot of the murals depict mass genocide. Is there a specific one that you want to talk about?
I mean, that gas mask one with the Nazi,
the
head Nazi guy was just really special to
is
look
it
at.
That one?
Yes.
Okay.
With the big sword.
Denver Airport conspiracy. Yes. When the Denver International Airport was built to replace the state...
Okay, we don't... We just want to see the... Oh, she didn't talk about it.
Can you just pull a picture up of it?
I didn't prepare a picture.
I can pull one up.
Pull one up of...
Gas mask mural at Denver
Yeah,
Airport?
so basically... Did you call that a Nazi?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's, like, children there fearing, and he looks like he's trying to...
Either slice their heads off or something with a sword. Yeah.
And then that looks almost like a demon, like holding a baby, kind of.
Yeah, so let's see. When you pull in here, you have like a mother holding a dead child and like a line of like people, which is giving me really it's giving me World War II vibes. It's giving me Holocaust of like the people
on the train.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got a child sleeping with a teddy bear on what looks like bricks. You've got a dove that's at the end of the sword that the Nazi gas mask looking creature is holding. You've got some kind of document down here, which I have no idea what it says.
Probably the Declaration of Independence.
Could be. but there's a document down there, and then there's a burnt up, crisp looking building.
So this is the one that I actually saw in person when I was there, and it was just so creepy.
Yeah, that's another one.
Like, it's just so weird.
What does that one have on it?
Hold on.
It's supposed to be like the united world, like of all different kind of
Well, this also brings
symbolism.
me to like a reality of like, I am so unobservant. I've, like I said, been at this airport my entire life, and I've honestly never noticed any of these. But you know, I've got headphones on and I'm walking down and I'm not
Which
looking.
most people are not either, until it gets pointed out.
It's just like so strange. Okay, so
those are interesting.
Yeah.
I have noticed those.
So obviously Illuminati symbol. I mean, that's their whole MO, is just mocking.
So that was, I think that brings back to like the original point you had of like conspiracy theorists were brought up to discredit. I think that the Denver airport is fully aware that people feel this way about the Denver airport, so their way to discredit is to mock it with themselves. So like all of the construction cover-ups, so for anybody that obviously didn't see that video or doesn't know, that I have seen a ton of. They have construction setups and they have like funny little sayings of like, are we creating the world's craziest airport or stuff like that, and it'll have Illuminati symbols on it. It will have lizard people on them. It will have
Freemasonry.
Freemasonry. It'll have, there was another one that was in there that I always am just like, what the crap? They had Blucifer shooting laser beams out of his eyes.
Right.
So like they're aware of everything that's said about them, and they just really don't care.
Well, so we were talking about this at the Super Bowl because Rihanna's performance was very much
100%.
You know,
Very satanic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
It makes me sad because I love her. I was like, why can't this be about your gender or your baby reveal?
And
Make it
people
sweet.
who are in the Illuminati, the whole thing is like they can't lie about it.
Correct.
So what they try and do, and I actually saw an interview of one of the Kardashians, and she was Courtney. Yeah, she was on the lie detector, and they were like, "Are you in the Illuminati?" And like, almost like satire. She was like, "Yes,
I mean,
of course."
no.
And then she was like, "No." And then she was like, "Did that come up as truth?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then they just kept going. It's just, everything they do is just so satire.
You got Sam Smith with the Grammys.
Oh, terrible.
And now they just did the Carnival in Brazil. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
I've always wanted to go. Did it not go well this year? Tell me. Ruined my dreams. It's fine.
All right, so you know about Carnival in Brazil, and they wear all these awesome costumes. Maybe, but some of them were just painting, right?
Well, I had an old dance teacher. I absolutely love her, Luciana, and she's Brazilian, and she dances in Carnival every year. And like, she always used to tell us, like, when we were of age, that like she would love to take us to dance in it. Like, I've always wanted to go. They also do this really cool thing in Rio, where like the night of like the end of their Carnival, you dress in all white and you party on yachts, and then you jump into the ocean, and they have like like glow sticks everywhere, and it's like all lit up still, but it's in the middle of the night. It's supposed to be really cool.
Wow.
So like, it's on my bucket list, but now you're making me question it.
So, and the majority of it is like body paint and just these amazing dancers with amazing bodies just doing like the best dancing ever. And that's kind of, and the floats.
Yeah.
Well, not this year. Right. So this year it was like Blucifer.
Was it?
Everywhere. So it was one huge float of Satan.
Oh, wow.
Demons everywhere. Everything was all about satanic ritualing type of stuff. They had Adam and Eve kind of doing sexual acts on one float. Then they had a Jesus kind of hanging by a rope. And then they had another Jesus kind of walking the streets with demons poking him with a pitchfork. So now this happened the day after, flooding everywhere. Like major mudslides and flooding everywhere. And they say it was because they were mocking God. It was unreal to have that kind of carnival.
I didn't even realize, well, I guess that's me living in my bubble, but like when I go to Europe and when I go to other countries, I just don't hear about all of this stuff like I hear about in America. I feel like our culture is very into it. We talk about it. We hear about it. We don't do anything about it, but we hear about all of it. And then I go to other cultures and I don't hear about it. I don't think it, and it, so in my head it doesn't play as like that's a thing there. But now hearing that that's like something going on in Brazil,
but they're
like
very religious in Brazil. Very religious. They have 1 million churches.
So
in Brazil.
how would they have let that happen?
I do not know.
Is this Illuminati like other places?
Maybe you can speak on this too. the generation that's like in high school and coming up to middle school, high school is very dependent on getting their news from social media.
Oh,
and they're so addicted to it. And like someone could put on social media one thing and maybe they have, I don't know, a couple thousand followers and they're going to believe what that person says. Kind of like if Charli D'Amelio were to say something, her 100 million followers would be like, oh my God, it's right because it's Charli D'Amelio. And like she said it.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like that's why so many younger kids are like looking up to almost like Satan and the devil. It's because, you know, who's the one guy that just put blood in shoes?
Oh, you're talking about not Lil Xan.
Blood in shoes.
What is his name?
Yeah, it was for a Nike ad.
Little
Adidas.
Nas X. Wait, no.
No, it's I'll get it. I don't know the young rappers. I'm not into rap music personally, so like it's never been a thing for me. But it's the one that also did the dance video, and he's like giving Satan a lap dance.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge song. I liked the song too, which was kind of a bummer. He ruined it with the video.
It's crazy because if you look
it's not what's her the Kardashians boyfriend, is it? No, baby daddy.
No, but that one, you know what's funny, and I might get in trouble with Travis Scott with the whole Travis World disaster. I might get in trouble with Kyle for saying this one. Kyle's old security team was at that show to guard only Travis Scott. So, like, I was like, when it all went down, their job is not to help the crowd. So they were in the back, and all those guys were in, like, his group chat later, and we were like, we felt so helpless. Like, we're not allowed to leave his side, but, like, we saw all of it happening, and we were like, we're security. What are we supposed to do? But they're not venue security. They can't do anything. They have to stay on their charge, and that's what they're trained to do. But it's like, they're sitting there, and they're like, we can see people, like, literally in this wave, and they couldn't do anything. And it gave me chills. And it's like why I've made it very clear Kyle's not we have no rapper policy in this house, so he doesn't work with rappers, but most of his team does, and it's just no, I'm not doing that.
Well, yeah. So this guy came out with these shoes. I think it was a brand with
Nike sues Lil Nas. It was Lil Nas over Satan shoes. So apparently Nike is suing him because he put human blood in the soles.
Yes.
But I feel like Nike's only doing that to save face. My dad being the biggest athlete in the world, he refuses to watch all sports now because he thinks they're too political. He won't shop Nikes. He won't shop Adidas. Which is really sad because I grew up on sports.
It kind of is like when we were watching the Super Bowl. I remember seeing at least 5 commercials that were pushing medication or a vaccine for something.
I mean, there's just a lot of influence happening right now, and it's not good influence.
No.
Well, and that's what makes me sad because as you were talking about the social media thing, there's so much good information being shown and shared now too, but it's a matter of getting it on your page, which is hard if you keep filtering through, like we all have algorithms. If you're filtering through bad stuff all the time and false information, they're going to feed you more bad and false information. Right. So unless you're cleaning your space, I really liked this girl I was following a couple days ago. She was like, I intentionally detox my social media. So the minute I get a video that doesn't align with what I think I need to be seeing, she blocks that account. And it naturally filters out, like, bad influences, which obviously we can't get 18, 19-year-olds to do that. But, like, essentially that was the goal, is to, like, filter out bad influences. But that's really hard to do also when my conspiracy theory here is that I do think, obviously, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they're all run by government organizations anyways. Yeah. We're going to get exactly what they want us to see anyways. But I did like her concept of thinking that we could filter it out.
Yeah.
It's a nice idea.
Okay, wait.
So what do you think is underneath the airport?
I think that it goes down many, I think it's very deep. Like, goes down...
They said Empire State Building.
Yes,
deep.
yes. I think that...
Hurt your ears. I hope they have a really fast elevator and it's really going to hurt your
it's
ears.
Like 200 stories down.
Also, I bet you it's hot down there.
I mean, I'm sure they've got, like, AC systems. And I think they have, like, a whole city down there.
Yes.
You think there's an underground city?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I think it can hold every single government official that we have in the United States.
All the billionaires.
Yes. Every single elite, Illuminati, Freemason, like, anything. I think it can hold all of them in a comfortable setting. I also think that they are experimenting down there.
On...
humans, animals, both together.
Because if there's Nazis down there, they're for sure.
So there's So
take it from someone that was, from
there's
the
a
Jews.
video that came out, and I think they put this. I don't know what happened to this guy, but I think they put him in a mental hospital or just, euthanized him.
That's our new thing. Instead of saying KMS.
Unalived is the new
So
one.
I say unalived.
I
See,
hate
I
that.
hate it also, but unalived became the new
I'm
word.
a true crime junkie, so obviously I hear it all the time. And so, like, naturally, the YouTubers naturally, there's Kyle walking the dog. The true crime people say unalived, and I said that on a previous episode we had with our friend Grayson. And Grayson was like, what did he say? He was like, well, I like to say euthanized. Like, euthanize.
Or suicided is another one.
Suicided, yeah.
Suicided.
Well, anyways, there was this video. This guy came out with a story and said he was at the Denver airport. He had to go to the bathroom, but he was in like a almost empty terminal. So he found an elevator because he was like, "There's no bathroom here. I need to get on the elevator." So he gets on the elevator. His like deception of it was he was on it for so long he couldn't keep track of time, and he thought it was like broken down.
Okay.
But then he's like going down, and he finally gets off. And it's
negative 223th floor or something.
I have no idea, but he said he gets off, and it's just like completely like eerie dark almost, and he just sees like 2 bathrooms, but the doors were like 12 feet tall. And when he went into the bathroom, the stalls were also like 12 feet tall.
I've seen that video on TikTok. Or like,
you think it's real?
I think that
Sounds really Wonka-ish.
I fully think that we're onto something with something underneath. I think that it could be something that is a little city down there, or at least like bunker style like space.
But they have so much money, they're not going to do like bunkers. They're gonna go big,
which is sure fine.
Yeah.
But I don't the whole 12 feet tall thing. I'm like, what are we trying to say? They're giants.
That's what he's trying to say.
I think you've lost me.
For what I was reading or researching,
Okay.
It's kind of like the bug out shelter. So when all hell breaks loose, which they are already plotting to happen, that's their security blanket to take shelter. And because it's so far underground, they're going to be able to live out until the air becomes purified again to come back up.
Yeah,
Where
like
are
large human being. We're never going to see them. Ever. In a million years.
I want to
think
say
they just live
Ashkenazi, but that's Jew. It's something like that, though.
Ashkenazi Jew. That
Right,
would
it's
be
not
my mom.
Right. It's
But yeah, so that's the whole thing.
Anuki? Anakuki?
Anakaku
cookie?
Does a mouse want a cookie? What the fuck are you doing?
Saw that meme we posted.
Anayuki? It's something like the name of the giants that I...
Yeah. But yeah, so...
You guys are done.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So
I
yeah.
didn't have any drinks today, just by the way.
Basically,
No alcohol
you know how they
involved.
want
No
to
alcohol.
reduce the population? That's like a known thing. Okay, yeah. So that's basically what she said. They're going to go underneath, wait for everything, and then that's how they start the New World Order.
Yeah, I mean that's like every freaking end of the world movie they've ever put out, which I think is realistic.
So, have you seen the movie Don't Worry, Darling?
Oh heck yeah!
No.
You
So
should watch
good.
that.
Okay, wait. Actually, I have.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on
Is it
Peacock
Amazon?
right now.
Peacock?
Oh,
Something.
yeah,
It's on something.
Peacock or HBO Max. It might be on HBO.
Oh, it's on HBO, I think.
But you can also. It's not. No, it's not still out in theaters. We
Don't
saw that.
Worry, Darling.
Don't worry, darling. Okay, well, it's like basically a simulation movie. It's like they're in a simulation. But this is going to blow your mind. Actually, last night, so my friend who is, everybody will know who, because she was on last month's, Bree, she turned 25, and she was a SpongeBob fan yesterday. And she did a SpongeBob party, because, you know, what's better than 24? 25. It's like the SpongeBob sign, naturally. And she had SpongeBob playing yesterday, and Kyle and I were like kind of half paying attention to it. And there's an episode with Squidward, which I was not a huge SpongeBob kid personally, but there's an episode with Squidward where he like goes to like a town where everybody's like him.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that episode.
We watched that episode. It is Don't Worry, Darling, but with Squidward. So I feel like they made, and this was years and years ago. So, you know, there's the whole theory that like The Simpsons predicts the future.
Yes.
I think SpongeBob was predicting like Don't Worry Darling, and Don't Worry Darling as their soft launch of like real people. Like, because you know how they put things in our face to see how much we can tolerate it and stuff like that?
That's the reason. I think they literally, like what she was saying, they need to. So that they're doing all this demonic stuff.
So they have to do it as truth.
And it's exactly, it has to be out there to be, you know, we're telling you about it. If you choose to think we're crazy, then that's your thing. But we're just telling you about it because they can't hide it and cover it up.
See, I always thought of it as more of like, especially with like the Balenciaga thing that just happened, to me it was more of like a soft launch of how much is society willing to tolerate certain wrongs.
Oh.
Is how I saw it, but
I mean,
I don't know. That's just like how I kind of, especially the Balenciaga thing. I was like, they were soft launching how okay we were with child abuse and child porn and stuff like that. And so I felt like Don't Worry Darling was like their version of, I mean, we already saw it in SpongeBob. Now we're seeing it in Don't Worry Darling, and that's with real humans. To me, that's like...
Well, it's the demoralizing of our society. So as they keep pushing this and we just go and accept everything and go, yeah, okay, I mean...
and I think it desensitizes people too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if, like, you're appalled the first time you see somebody get punched in the face, but then you've seen somebody get punched in the face 8 times and no longer it doesn't affect you.
Right.
So I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing with these movies and these, and it was a great movie. They did a great job acting. It was Harry Styles and Florence, I forget her last name. She did a good job.
Henderson.
Yeah.
No? Brady Bunch?
No.
Florence, like, Hugo or something.
Something close. Like and then Olivia Wilde wrote it, and she's in it too. Mm. So she must be in the Illuminati.
The whole premise behind Don't Worry Darling is that they're in a simulation, and The Simpsons does a really good job depicting that, because they have like what do they call it in The Simpsons?
I don't watch it. I just know.
It's basically what
predictions. The time warp.
No, it's like a bubble that's over their town that they can't get out of.
That was in Stephen King too. He did a book like that also.
And I think that's what we know as the
firmament. The Truman Show.
Okay, I have not seen the Truman Show.
You haven't?
No, and I don't want to watch it because everyone tells me to watch it, but I think it's going to creep me out way too much.
Yeah, I think you'd be okay.
I don't know.
Especially because that's an older
when I was watching
movie.
Don't Worry Darling, I'm like, no fucking way. The entire time.
Have you seen Black Mirror episodes? Because that's every single one of them that you do that to.
I do. And I had to stop watching them because I was like, I'm going crazy.
Well,
like I can't
the one
sleep at
with
night.
Dallas Bryce Howard where it's like they have to rate each other.
And now
that
it's
one
in China.
was so fascinating.
And now it's in China.
Oh, that's happening in China?
That's happening in China now.
Wait. Explain.
So that when my son had asked me to start watching Black Mirror, that came out, and I'm like, that's just super creepy. And it's like this social marking.
Experiment, yeah.
A social marking on, let's just say, like, so you have a Google review, right? And you have a certain points on what your business is. So if you're awesome, you're like at 5.0. You start getting some bad reviews, you go down and down and down. Well, the same thing happens now in China, coming from this Black Mirror episode, which was all supposed to be just fiction. Now, if you don't keep paying your bills correctly, or if someone says that, you're a poor business person, or if someone doesn't like you in whatever kind of interaction you have, your social score goes down.
So how it is in the episode, Jordan, is like literally as if you have a social...
the episode.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's just like rating each other, right?
Literally
I'm mad at you, I rate you low right
China.
now. Like,
so if you get a poor score, you can't purchase things in China.
They're like really actually doing this right now.
Yes.
That's crazy.
China's a wild one.
Wow.
And they're saying it's going to come here, too.
It's like when Instagram's like, we're soft testing in Australia this week, but next week this will be affecting you. And I'm like, don't do that. Leave me alone.
Okay, so back to what we were saying. You know how, like, when they do it, they have to say that they're doing it?
Yes.
Okay. Have you guys heard of the talking gargoyle?
No.
At the Denver
Yes.
airport? Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you talked to it?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
I'm such a bad Denver airport goer, guys.
Basically, it's a...
Is it a robot?
No.
I'm sure it is.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. So it's depicted as like a demon coming out of a suitcase. Like that's what it is.
Okay.
It's a gargoyle.
Yeah.
Like all gargoyles are inherently they have to be like demonic.
Oh, hello.
That's a little too close for comfort, lady.
What in the what?
What, you never seen a talking gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters.
I've never seen it.
I mean, Denver International Airport.
This is awesome.
Hello. Do I know you?
Are you hungry?
Oh, I'm starving. You got anything for me? Those flowers look delicious.
Oh, it's because of the conspiracy.
Oh, it's because of the conspiracy. Look at me. I'm a little know-it-all. Will you get back over here? I got a question about this conspiracy. Did you have to buy an extra seat for your hat, sir? Sir, are you stealing a desk? Sir, you have resting, confused face. Do you have a favorite animal or pet?
A caterpillar?
A caterpillar? Wouldn't you rather have a gargoyle?
No!
Yes! You know, you can actually put the phone down and have a conversation with me. But no, I'm a millennial. I've got to post it. I've got to snap face it and Twitter book it. Excuse me, miss, I've got a stain that needs some polishing. Can I borrow your cleaning cart? I need your help. Guess what my favorite food is?
What?
No, I want you to guess. Cumin. Yes, I love cumin.
I said human.
Oh, I thought you said cumin. I'm a real big spice guy. Furry hat guy. I can't believe you are wearing one of my friends.
Hey, this isn't your friend.
It used to be until you put it on your head, man.
How old are you?
Well, 243 years old now. I look good for my age, don't I?
Yeah, work out.
All the time. You should see my squats.
Okay.
Blinking.
Yeah.
So
Is that like, have you seen that?
I've seen it, but I've never seen it talk.
The interactive gargoyle.
I think
It doesn't talk to everyone. That's what I heard.
Well, also I feel like you have to try and interact with it in order for that to happen. If I'm just bopping by with my headphones, I probably didn't notice. I think we need to do a group trip to the Denver airport. Here's my other question.
Again?
Do you
I can't
think?
go there again. I'm good.
But like now we would be there for research purposes. We should go. Anyways,
You should
not fun.
find that elevator.
Oh my god, no. I will literally have a heart attack. I will start hyperventilating and be like, it's real. It's real, guys.
But if it's real, then we just hide and we stay down there, and then when New World Order comes, we're safe. We're in there with them.
So
You want
that's
to
what
stay
I
there
always
forever?
thought. If things were going down, I need to get a one-way ticket to Denver Airport because
Why
that's the only
not
place we're going to survive.
Disney?
Yeah, Disney's
Okay,
got a bunch of
we'll get
bumper
there.
rides under there too.
Regardless, my point here is that I
It's a
think
lot closer
that
too.
it's a lot closer of a journey. But I could get back to my parents. Okay, here's my question. Do you think all of the employees know what's going on? I was going to say, if not, we should just get jobs there, and then they'll tell us everything.
Well, we can't do that now because we're going to post this. So they're going to do a
gonna be-
strict background check and be like, no, not these girls.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like we might be put on a hit list after this video.
And then whatever.
We've got Kyle. Kyle's prepared.
I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, God. Okay, well, take us, where are we going next on this journey?
Okay. I think that was really all I wanted to talk about there.
What is the lizard people?
People that are lizards. Literally.
They're literally just lizards?
Yeah. So, like, a lot of normal conspiracy theorists don't believe that because it's obviously fucking crazy. Like, it's batshit crazy to think that there is a human lizard out there. But the Denver airport has been putting up so many murals depicting lizard people. It's kind of crazy.
So where do they live? Also in the forest?
Underneath the oceans.
Yeah.
Coming from outer space.
I hate you both.
There's a thing down in the West Tampa that they say that they're living. I'm totally kidding. They just look at her face.
What?
I was like, wait, Tampa too? What?
No, we're safe here from the lizard people.
So what they said, it started, I think, when Obama was in office.
Yeah.
And they were saying he was part lizard. And they were trying to show him...
See it. Kind of looks like a lizard.
They were trying to show him, like, half his face was lizard and half his face was skin.
Wait,
Yeah.
so can lizard people hide that they're lizard people?
Yeah, that's their whole mask.
So they wear a mask.
Yes.
How do you fit your lizard head in a normal shaped head?
Who was a speaker who just went bye-bye? The lady. The Speaker of the House.
Oh, Lori.
The old woman.
Is her name Lori?
No.
Oh, Speaker of the House.
Pelosi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see the...
Yeah. Yes.
But she's
Okay.
gone now? Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Can't stand her.
Yeah. So they show a video. You know how your normal neck looks, right? Like it doesn't usually do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, they showed her in the background of, like, I guess while the president was speaking, and her neck is just kind of doing this. So either she's got some serious thyroid issue.
See a doctor, ma'am.
Or she's a fucking
Or
lizard.
Nancy Pelosi, if you're listening to this, go see a doctor. Immediately. I need to see if I can find that video.
How about 9/11? You want to get to 9/11?
Sure.
Because that's the one I love the most.
Okay. You started.
Have at it?
Yeah.
All right. So when I started thinking something's not right with our government, it was 9/11 time. So I had my two kids. They were quite young. They were at that time, I think, 2 and 4. somewhere in that age range.
Okay, yeah, I think I was like 5?
Right.
5-ish, yeah.
So they were pretty young at the time. And I'm not going to date myself, but... So, I'm in New Jersey at the time, and I was working for a place that the majority of... And I was in HR. I was the HR rep. And the majority of my staff were from New York. So we used to pull them over to the New Jersey facility.
Wait, where in Jersey did you live? Like right across the river?
Pretty much. Okay. So the building was in Clark, New Jersey. So you're running along the Garden State Parkway. You can see the towers.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get to as I was on my way to the office, I noticed the Garden State Parkway the other way. Everyone is looking that way. Now, it's always a parking lot on the parkway. But to see kind of everyone as I'm, like, passing, and I'm, like, listening to my music. It was a CD.
Yeah.
I think, or a cassette. Who knows?
Yeah, it was CDs back then.
Right, CDs? Okay.
Yeah, CDs.
And I was just kind of, like, boogieing along, whatever. Yeah. But I'm noticing traffic is, like, really slow, but everyone looking that way. And I was just like, that's really weird, but I'm just kind of going along. Get to my office, and the first person that greets me is someone that has his fiance who works in the towers. And he goes, Beth, I need your car. And I went, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, I need your car immediately. Like, my girlfriend, my fiance is in the towers. And I went, what? And he goes, don't you listen to anything? And he was like panicked. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, I need your car. Before they start closing the bridges, the towers were just hit by a plane. And I went, what? And I said, well, what kind of... I'm like, all right, just take my car. I said, but do me a favor. My kids are in, at that point, I was nervous. They were in the JCC. So I said, if the towers were hit by a plane, immediately my radar went up. Maybe it's terrorists. Maybe it's something like that. But I got kids in a Jewish facility right now. I need you to just drop me off there, get my kids, and then you can have that and take my car over to GW and whatever you need to do, George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
So he did. So immediately, I'm like, all right, gotta go. Just got here, but I'm going. And everyone was like, what do we do here? And I'm like, I don't know, but I got little ones in the JCC. I'm so sorry, but at this point, I can't be your HR rep. I gotta go. I have kids. Yeah. So he took me back there. I got my kids. We waited for my ex to come get us, and he took the car. Made it over the GW, but at that point, like, traffic was, like, dead, and you couldn't do anything else. Mm-hmm. So he wound up getting her... by the Brooklyn Bridge. She was at like the 92nd floor. She walked all the way down, got down and out, thank God, but there was like no coordination because they shut off phone lines and they did all this craziness. Right?
He just was like flying by the seat of his pants, getting there.
Get there whatever he can.
I hate that.
It was awful. Yeah. So I also had my cousin who worked for Goldman Sachs, and she was also in that building, and she was also somewhere in that 80, 70 something
How many
floor.
floors were there again?
200 and something.
Okay, so they were like the halfway kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she was at Goldman Sachs, and they were telling her, stay. We don't know what's going on, until she saw the second plane or something. She said something hit the next building. So she was in the first building. She saw something, and they were like, we don't know what's going on. Just stay. And she's like, stay? No. Took her stuff and flew down the stairs, and she was like,
why did you stay?
They were telling people to stay put. We don't know what's going on. We're going to get information. Just stay.
I'm sorry. If you feel a building shaking and you see fire, there's no, like, we're not talking active shooter, like, oh, don't run out into, active shooter. We're talking literally the building's on fire and it's quaking.
All right. So he took the car. What have you? Well, he got his fiance. Yeah. All right. So I get back home and I start listening to radio, TV, blah, blah, blah. My husband at the time just had arrived in Malaysia. Malaysia, being 90% Muslim, was basically put on lockdown. And they were telling him that he had to call the consulate to let them know that he's an American there and to guard him for his safety. So all that was going on, and I'm like, with the kids, by myself, what do I do? So I'm listening to the news, I'm listening to whatever. He had a friend who worked in the government, and I'm like, get him home. Whatever you can, get him home on whatever planes are happening. And he's like, I just got here, I'm safe, I'm staying. I'm like, you're staying?
Why would you want to stay right now?
If you can get home, I don't know what's going on in the world right now. Like, they're bombing buildings or what have you, planes are crashing, and you're going to stay? So that was like the end all to kind of get divorced. I was like, that's just insane.
You're like, you're done.
Like, if that's not a reason enough.
Can we serve him divorce papers in Malaysia?
If that's not a reason enough to get your butt home, I'm like, yeah.
You're like,
all right, buddy.
Your logic Your logic is off, and hence, like, we cannot continue on this journey.
So the enormity of everything else that happened with 9/11. So then I listened to, there was a broadcast on Building 7. So Building 7 was another building very close in that area that they were reporting already had been down, but it was still standing. So they started getting rid of those kind of reports, obviously, because the building's still standing. What are you talking about? Like it blew up or whatever. The fires caused it to come down. So it was like a demolition type of thing that it collapsed the same way that the towers collapsed. So if buildings were going to, and they already kind of debunked this with architects, investigating it. If buildings were going to get hit by planes, then it wouldn't have gone down like this and then turned to soot. Like there would be metal and there would be desks and there would be a million different body part, whatever. There wasn't anything. It was just turned to air and dust. So whatever was scrapped down there from, we're talking how many floors of 200-story buildings and how many people housed in those buildings, they took whatever away, and I think they shipped it to China for whatever investigation was going to be done. They immediately didn't do any type of investigation down there.
Why is China investigating anything that's done?
And they said they were shipping it off, so whatever they had. So they weren't allowed to investigate anything down there. In addition to that, and I had, who I, give my card to and a million other people, all these first responders going down there, like helping out, like people who were trapped or people that were in the area or other people that lived in the area that were close to by there. And they were saying, and as you keep seeing, like the plummet of smoke just going on for weeks, the air is fine, everything is fine, don't worry about the air. Well, obviously the air wasn't fine. And a million people got whatever kind of lung disorders, cancers, and all that other stuff, right? So when that started happening, I immediately started thinking something's not right. Something smells really fishy. So before they can get rid of like videos and other things a decade later, I started with a bunch of the people that I was working with looking into the videos that they did have. And there was no plane that hit the Pentagon. There would be no plane that could hit the Pentagon at like the lowest level and then just disappear. Like where did the wings on the plane go? Where did whatever else happen?
And there's no way they could have cleaned all that up without civilians getting pictures first and stuff like that.
The other thing was all the names that they called every single year. Not one of them were names of people on the planes. They were all names of people that were in the towers. So everyone that died who jumped out of the building to save themselves or save themselves from being burnt alive, all of those were the names they were calling. They were not calling.
Is there a list of names from a flight list?
No, never found. Nope. It was American blah, 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 and nope. So the only ones that actually died in the plane were the ones that were in that Pennsylvania flight. The one that they took down, that they made the United 93.
Oh, the ones that like they veered the plane into a field. Interesting.
Correct. So like, that was the only one that they actually did hijack.
So was that a distraction? Do you think they were never going to hit anything with that plane on purpose, but they wanted the distraction of like all of these actual civilians dying?
It doesn't make sense other than there was definitely this big plan in motion. The whole reason that the towers were taken out in the first place and Building 7 for absolutely no connection. There was no reason other than there was a lot of documentation that was about to come out of governmental fraud. And it was housed in these buildings. So in order to get rid of all this stuff, and it was just about to come out within the next couple of days, blow up the towers. So the people that were in the towers were told that they were working on elevators the weeks beforehand. And what were they doing? They were putting these igniters inside the elevators. So as the building was going down, you see these lights pop as the whole building's crashing. And people were saying, the ones that were trapped and who kind of heard it, like the first responders who did get out, that they heard them, like you could hear these like little bombs going off, systematically. And then you would see it happen as you're watching the video also. The other thing...
yeah, you can see it when it kind of collapses on itself. Yeah. It goes down like that.
But you see these like light flashes. Which is all a natural demolition on how it was planned to do that. So that's another, maybe not conspiracy theory.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've heard about, and I'm sure, Gabby, you have too, George Bush in the classroom the day of reading the book to people.
In Florida, of all places.
Yeah.
Yeah, of Florida.
I have not seen this or heard this
book to little children, basically depicting 9/11.
Wait, how? Like what? Like what was he saying to small children?
Well, he was reading a book about that, like the buildings blowing up.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then someone going over to him, whispering in his ear, like it actually happened, and he's still sitting there reading the book.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're the president. You might want to get up.
What's
and
wild is that, like, people are still dying from 9/11. So, like, my grandparents are divorced, and they're both remarried. My grandma remarried, and I call him my grandpa, but step-grandpa, whatever. He died 3 years ago. We thought he had, like, the flu for a little while. And then he went to the hospital, and they were like, I don't remember if it was stage 4 or what they said, but it was lymphoma, leukemia lymphoma. So basically the type that he has is the same type that a lot of the first responders got from being there. So he was a first responder on the scene there. And then we started working with this foundation, or just like following this foundation. And I forget what it's called. If I find it, I'll put the link in here. But their job is to like get healthcare for these people, you know, because a lot of them don't have healthcare. Like they can't afford these bills, and like there are millions of dollars of like treatment to like treat these people, and they're still dying.
Yes.
And they all have a cancer from 9/11 because they were there and they breathed in the air.
Yes. But the point is that the EPA literally was telling people who were kind of going, I don't know about this. You could see the plumes of smoke. Yeah. And you can smell rot of whatever was happening, of whoever died there.
I think we're going to kind of see the same thing happening with the people of Ohio. Yeah. With that explosion.
That'll get me going. Yeah. That was how, that's all our farmland. Okay. I'm going to take you on a twist. The conspiracy theory that I'm most dedicated to and into, which we can chat about, and if Kyle pops in the door, he'll give us all the earful. Kyle's really big on the government messing with our food. That's his like big kicker, and him and Jordan go back and forth about this a lot.
And water.
Water. And Ohio obviously is a lot of our farmland.
We will probably not be able to air this, huh?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to upload to YouTube, if I'm being honest.
It'll be on the podcast, whatever. But what I will say is that I'm not going to say a name, but there is a billionaire out there, a billionaire man.
Was it rhyme with Bates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That his biggest actual thing that he's obsessed with, that's his passion project, is population control.
Yeah.
Who was a big funder of one of the COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
Well, now he's been buying farmland. Mm-hmm. He's just flushing it all.
And China as well.
Yeah, so they've been buying the farmland. They're buying egg farms. They're disguising them as small businesses. They're doing all of these things. And then all of a sudden you have this giant Ohio spill, everything like that. It's messing up all the farmland. All of those farmers that were affected, that are actual, legit, hardworking farmers, can't buy that land back. They're selling it out to him. And now basically he's running the whole food organization. And his number one thing is population control? Weird to me. Why would you be interested in farmland if you don't want people to survive? That's weird to me.
Well, his entire family, his father was very much into that also. Into, what's the word with it, with an E?
Euthanization.
Yeah. That's literally confirmed. I was like, I don't know.
Eugenics.
Yes. Yeah. So his father was huge into eugenics, so obviously he raised his son to kind of be in the same spectrum. But there was a video on Bill, whatever his schmates. So,
we've already lost.
Yeah.
Saying
that with vaccines, it's going to be able to, reduce our population.
Yeah. Well, it's because he made us, I can go on and on about the vaccine. And I'm not afraid to say it, and it doesn't upset me if people disagree with me. I did not get the vaccine. I was advised by multiple of my doctors. I've already had 3 different forms of cancer. I'm going to have fertility issues probably. So my whole thing was I had cervical cancer the year after COVID. So I was like, my doctor was like, no, we're not doing that because we don't know the effects of fertility, and if you want kids, we're not playing with that. So I kind of got a pass. Like, all the doctors were kind of like, she doesn't need it. She doesn't need it. Kyle did have to get his for some stuff he was doing overseas. Well, he's not military anymore, but it was overseas stuff that he needed to do. So he had to get it. But I think that, I mean, we obviously heard reports of women losing their periods and stuff like that, but I think what people aren't realizing is the long-term effects that it's going to have on men, because it's easy to tell when something affects women because we have a system that's supposed to work monthly, and, like, it's easy to know when something's wrong with us. How are you going to know a man's infertile until you want to have kids? So I think that all of our men are going to have huge, massive issues.
Well, there's a major reduction in testosterone right now happening.
Oh, yeah.
Major reduction.
No, I can see that. Really big about the water, too.
Yeah, I mean,
she walked into my house today, and
there's so much estrogen in the water.
I asked her if she wanted to try some of my butter, because I got this Amish butter. It's really good. And she goes, isn't it clarifying?
Well,
do you know why there's estrogen? Did you hear about the frogs?
Wait, hold on. The frogs?
Uh-huh.
No.
No?
No.
You gotta look that one up.
The frogs?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll look at
Is it like the lizard people?
Are there frog people?
You know what I think? I think Bill Schmates is the blue horse.
I have lots of theories about him. Wait, can we... I'm going to go way off book here, and I don't know if you guys have heard this. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad is the one who wrote all of our textbooks.
Yeah, I knew that.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
What?
Also, how is Ghislaine not dead yet? I thought she would have been dead in prison by like 5 years.
She might be.
I mean, they haven't reported it. I thought she would have been axed in prison, like,
I don't
quickly.
think they're going to report it.
Do you think he's... Or do you think he's somewhere on another island?
I think he's somewhere. I think they...
No, I don't think so. I think he was disposable. I think he was disposable, and people were very scared he was going to start blabbing. I think he's gone. I do not think he's anywhere. He was just some playboy that found the right people, gave them what they wanted. I don't think he was as important as we make him out to be. I think he just gave people what they wanted.
Well, Mr. Wexler. I love The Limited. I used to anyway. I used to buy all their stuff. And then I found out, I'm like, all right, I don't really like him anymore.
Well, it's kind
or
like
Victoria's Secret, or any of the other millions of things that he owns. It's
and then it goes back to, like, that's what we were talking about a couple weeks ago with the Balenciaga thing. I was just like, well, we're not buying Balenciaga anymore. And then Jordan and I are sitting here and we're like, well, here's a list of other things Balenciaga has owned, like, co-parented with. Why don't you boycott them as well?
It's also, the owner, but the designers.
Homemade clothes. Yeah.
So, like, these designers, you know, they're friends with each other. Like, Marc Jacobs.
But you just say to the designer for Balenciaga?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Wait, what?
She's scary.
Yeah,
she's scary.
The designer?
Yeah.
With the red paint and the red blood babies.
I think nothing pissed me off more is seeing people on the internet mad about the Balenciaga thing, posting on their stories. Like, we know a couple people personally here in Tampa that were posting up a storm. This is disgusting. I'm livid. I'm upset. And then posting pictures holding a Balenciaga bag the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're joking. Mm-hmm. I was like, this was poor taste. I'm sorry. Like, and some of those people are like friends of ours and like we love them, but like we were like kind of like poor taste. Like, practice what you preach or don't do it. I don't know. I'm a big, like, I'm not going to say I'm going to do something and then not do it. But
do you know how to knit? Because we're going to all have to be wearing knit clothes.
I know how to do the finger yarning. Have you seen that?
No.
I haven't done it in a couple of years. I could try and refresh.
There are so many people connected to designers. We're going to be literally wearing our own knit clothes. There's going to be nothing else. And that could be really warm.
No, it's okay.
Let's move to a naked community.
We have a Rachel.
There is one in Lutz.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, that is not a conspiracy theory. Look it up.
A nudist colony.
In Lutz.
I mean, if that's what you're into.
Wait, that's...
Not that I've been there, but I've literally saw
So you've been there.
Never.
If things go to shit, we just go there because nobody's going to go fuck with naked people. You know they're not.
And they'll never wear designers, so you're good.
Yeah. I'll be a happy camper. No, we've got a Rachel, and Rachel is the craftiest person in the world, and she can sew, so we'll just get a Rachel to do it.
Perfect. Great.
That works.
But,
oh my God.
We went around in a circle again and up and down again.
Yeah, I don't really know. But what were we talking about?
Did we get off of 9/11? Are we done with
We
that
finished 9/11, and then we were just chit-chatting. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of conspiracy theory today.
Are there any more that you're passionate about?
So the newer one that's happening right now, like in production of their 2030 agenda type of thing that's happening, the whole blowing up of all these things at like Ohio, and now there's like one a day of another toxic.
Are you one of the people that
are doing it? No.
Yeah, she actually has a
Get out.
toxic-
That believe the Simpsons predictions?
So they say that there's some kind of time warp happening, like where even like Donald Trump's son. Did you hear about that one? Like he's a time traveler.
Oh,
Wait,
yes.
Trump?
Wait, no, there's so many people that are time travelers.
I'm a
so
time
many.
traveler.
Keanu Reeves.
I wish I was.
I'm a
I
time
think it would be
traveler.
cool.
Have you
Keanu
not-
Reeves, really?
Yeah.
Have you
Neo?
not?
Yeah.
Have you not seen this face in your history books? Because I have.
Show me.
I mean, you do
don't
come
know.
from Denver,
Girl,
so it's a
I did-
possibility there's a connection there.
I'm actually plot twist. I'm in the Illuminati.
Are
You're
you
the
a
lizard.
lizard person?
I'm literally spying on you guys right now to report back.
This was all to get us to say these things so that we're going to disappear by tomorrow. It was really nice knowing you, Jordan.
Euthanized.
I don't mind. Okay.
Well, I feel like we covered enough.
This is just a reminder, stop buying Balenciaga. They just are collabing with Disney right now.
They are collabing with Disney right now, which is a whole other
Terrible
issue.
people. Stop idolizing celebrities.
That too.
On that note, I really think we should stop before this gets any worse.
Okay. Well, thank you, Beth, for coming on.
Thank you for having me, ladies. That was really fun. Even if it may
really
not get broadcasted, it was great.
It was. I really hope you don't get murdered after this.
Yes, it would be nice to actually still live a couple more years.
I mean, at the end of the day, who are we?
Are you high right now?
Like,
we're not influential
Yeah.
whatsoever, right?
Right? Like,
Speak for yourselves, guys.
I'm sorry, we have an A-lister here. She's going to the Met Gala later this year.
A to Z. A to Z.
Okay, we're done. That's it.